Alright, so this is quite the experiment. I don't know if there's any clean way of doing this, but this is what I'm going to try and do. Got a few more windows than normal open. I'm going to go ahead and check my list to make sure it's right. But yeah, first game on the list is Outrun, the Japanese PC Engine HuCard game. Pretty good. A lot of people find it strange that the PC Engine and TurboGrafx 16 got some Sega games. In the US, we got Space Harrier and Fantasy Zone, for example. But Sega were actually pretty cool about licensing their stuff out, and sometimes the PC Engine version turned out better. This one's really debatable. I think it's almost a wash. I would say that I like the Genesis version a little better, probably. But let's take a look and see how we feel about it. Yeah, hang on just a second. Let me change my windows around again. I'm gonna have to, like I said, I'm gonna have to dick around a little more than normal to make this work. Um, but I think it'll be worth it. I think we're gonna get some really cool results here. I've getting to explore some games I've never played and really form an opinion about things that I've never even looked into. For example, this is something I have looked into, so we're not starting off with anything too weird. I did re-roll the list twice because the first time I did it, the first several looked a little too weird for me, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not easing in with that. And also, it seemed really clumpy the first time. Like it had like a whole lot of Super Nintendo games in a row. The Super Nintendo's library might be a lot bigger than I thought it was, though, so we'll see. It might end up dominating this. Um, but yeah, seeing a little bit behind the scenes on these to make them work. Don't feel like I feel like I should be getting audio here, but I'm not. So I'm hoping I'm not having any technical problems. But you know what? We should probably put this on easy because this game's real hard. Oh, there we go. We got the classic music options, so which might be enough reason to replay it a few times. So basically, here's the good and bad of it. The road color is really weird, but the rest of it gets the colors really good. Like they're very pastel looking, which is like the arcade game. I feel like the colors on the Megadrive are way too harsh. That's the obvious comparison. I'm gonna keep comparing this to the Megadrive version, Genesis version. Oh shit! I need to shift down or up or down. There we go. What the hell am I doing? Okay, I'm gonna get used to the controls. I think the Genesis one might get in a few more details from the arcade as far as like on the side of the road and stuff. But the scaling and speed might actually be a little worse on Genesis. I don't know. It's pretty close. Here's a real crappy rastering thing on here where it has to flicker to do the two roads. This is something that other versions of the game don't necessarily suffer from, and not super cool. Not what you really want to see in your Outrun. Still, you get the feeling you're playing Outrun. It's solid. I think I probably would enjoy this a lot more than, like, say, playing it on a Master System or a ZX or something. So, definitely an upgrade from previous 8-bit versions, if nothing else. Now it's probably a great time for me to talk about my rating system before I rate any game. And how, oh, first of all, methodology here, too. So the idea is to play a game until I get a feel for its mechanics. On most games, that's going to mean just playing simply to a game over. On a sports game or a wrestling game, it means playing a single exhibition match, usually. Um, on a strategy game, it means playing until I get the best grasp of how it plays that I can probably get, which is probably, that could take minutes or it could take hours. I may not be able to rate a lot of those. If I straight up cannot rate a game, I will say it's unrated. If the game is too Japanese or some other language for me to read the text, I will leave it unrated. If a game is, if I know a game would be rated a 1, I will skip it and I will tell you that it's a 1 and why. Especially if it's because of like offensive content or something. Um, so that gets into the number scale thing, which I was also going to talk about. But oh yeah, and so last point I guess would be something like an adventure game. I will play until I see the introduction to the game's story, have experienced whatever exploration means in that game, and then have done some combat or whatever its action is, or whatever you would deem its gameplay. So that's kind of the idea. Just kind of what is this game? Some games I might play for an hour because I love them or whatever, and we just got to a really cool one on the list, or I discovered something interesting. Some of them I may play for a very short period of time, so I have nothing to say about them, or I can't rate them, or I just truly do not care for whatever I'm seeing and just want to give up on it. So that'll happen too. So that leading into the numeric ratings, just start from the top and go down to the bottom. Let's go from the bottom to the top. Let's do it the other way around, because I think I've explained my rating scale before, but this will give me a chance to go into more detail. And we'll play a couple of rounds on this so we can hear the different soundtracks and see some different routes. Pretty cool game, pretty cool stuff. I definitely feel like I'm playing Outrun, so I feel like it really gets the gist of it. So anyway, like a 1 out of 10 game would be a game that either does not function, like is just not playable as a game. I don't mean is not. I mean like literally just locks up or won't run. I think that Big Rigs Over the Road Truckers might not quite fall into this category post patch. It might be more like a 2. So like not a game would also be a 1. Something like Crazy Bus, or something where the content's offensive, like Custer's Revenge or some other sort of like rape simulator or something like that. I won't rate games like that. It's a 1, and I'm not going to talk about its gameplay or anything. I just want it to not be on my screen. A 2 out of 10 game would be like a game that's like functionally broken, like effectively unplayable, just because it's too shitty in some regard to really be much of a game. That would be something more like post-patch Big Rigs. I think would fall into this category for sure. So would a lot of like just freeware crap that people have made, like games that are just jokes or whatever. I'm really having a hard time thinking of examples of a 2 besides Big Rigs, but that's that's the essence of what that is. Probably a lot of like shovelware stuff probably falls into this category. I'm sure like Color a Dinosaur on Nintendo would be a 2, because it's just barely. It doesn't even really. It's not really a game. It's just garbage. A 3 out of 10 would be just like an extremely bad, like demonstrably bad game. The first thing that comes to mind is for me is Superman on Nintendo 64. That's a 3 out of 10 game. It's just bad. It barely works as a game. It's shitty and it's excruciating to play. Um, it's just games like that that are just torture, that are just absolute, just a mess of a game. That's your Bubsy 3D territory right there. Is a 3. A 4 out of 10 game would just be like a regular bad game, a game that's bad, like Super Thunderblade for the Sega Genesis is a 4 out of 10 game. Um, Athena on the NES is a 4 out of 10 game. It's a game that's just crappy, maybe glitchy a little bit, and just shittily made, or like has a bad game design idea, or is boring. A lot of the super scalar ports to Genesis fall in that category. So hey, it's fun that we're talking about Outrun. Outrun is definitely not one of those though. I think Outrun's good on the Genesis, as good as this, and I'll tell you where this scores soon. A 5 out of 10 game is an average bad game, which means that it's more fun than not playing a video game, but not much more fun than that. 5 out of 10 games are really bland and mediocre and just kind of crappy in multiple directions. Um, Aliens Colonial Marines might fall into this category. Um, Last Battle on the Sega Genesis would probably fall into this category. Bad Dudes might also. Just lots of just average garbagey shit. Um, a 6 out of 10 game is a game that's on the good side of average. So that's like a little more positive. Like falling into the, this isn't excellent or anything, but it's just solid. Uh, I don't know. 6 out of 10 games are so dime a dozen that it's almost hard to name one because they're so actually common. But yeah, whatever you think of is a very average game. That's probably what it is. 7 out of 10 is a little slightly better than that. Like a good game, definitely something you'd want to rent back in the day. Something cool. A little above average. Um, a lot of shooters and stuff fall into that category that are kind of fun and good beat 'em ups. Like good action games kind of hit that spot for me. Splash Wave. Let's do Passing Breeze this time. 8 out of 10 games are games that are very good. They're like a good example of their genre usually. Anybody who's even sort of interested in whatever the game's about should probably play it if they can, because it's good and it'll be worth your money. Um, like 8 out of 10 games are more worth buying rather than just simply playing. So you don't have to look for deep discounts or try to do rentals or anything like that for games like that. Most people that want to play that kind of game will like it, but it doesn't have universal appeal or anything. A 9 out of 10 game might. 9 out of 10 is like getting into really, really good game territory. Maybe it's not groundbreaking enough, or it misses one of the elements that make a game a 10 out of 10 game, which is very, very few games would fall into that category, because that's like a legendary game. 10 out of 10 games have to have at least like 2 of the 3 elements of being either groundbreaking for their genre, or otherwise historically important, having universal appeal, and being like one of the best examples of whatever it's trying to be. So very few games hit that all of those marks, or even 2 out of 3 of those marks, to even be considered for a 10 out of 10 game. So Outrun for the PC Engine is not a 10 out of 10 game. I'm gonna say, since we've been playing it for a little while, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the score. I'm gonna say it's probably a 6. This is a pretty good game. It's a pretty good port of Outrun. Outrun's a very audio-visual flair game, though, and the consoles of that time couldn't do it, so they couldn't deliver the, arcade game, which a lot of people probably would call a 10, or at least a 9. Just beloved fucking racing game from the arcades that everybody loved back in the day. It was just so awesome, So to even get a taste of it at home like this is not bad. Compared to other racers of the time, holds up pretty well. Now that I've been playing this for a second, let me point out something strange about what I find strange about both ports of the Outrun to PC Engine and to Megadrive. The Megadrive version uses the Japanese track layouts. Okay, that's pretty normal, but when they brought it over to America, the American version still uses the Japanese track layouts for whatever reason. But then look at this. This is a Japanese-only game. This was released only in Japan for the PC Engine, and it uses the American track layouts? Why is it backwards? Well, I think part of the problem might be that we're thinking of it wrong. I don't think that there really is. It's so much American and Japanese as it is version 1 and version 2 or something. I think maybe some of the later Japanese releases actually have what we would call American track layout. But I don't think that the original track layout ever appeared in America. Not unusual for these games to have revisions, as the versions of Afterburner and Galaxy Force that most of us know are Afterburner 2 and Galaxy Force 2, which use just the same game, just with some refinements. So I played it, I rated it. I think there's one more soundtrack, so let's maybe hit this one more time. I'm not doing well on it. That's for damn sure. And this is on easy, yo. Fairly good stereo effects there. And it's also interesting that we're getting two Sega System X board games, System X arcade boards ports, because Enduro is coming out, the Master System version, which is just absolutely nothing like the game that it's based off of, right? It plays like from like an isometric view, so it's more like Paperboy. Whereas the arcade game was like this. So, behind the vehicle, third person 3D super scalar game. Well, I don't think it's a good idea to try to do super scalar games on the Master System anyway. Outrun and Afterburner kind of turned out alright, but man, when it comes to something like Galaxy Force, I'd rather not. You know what I mean? Like, I'd just rather not play that in that format. No, thank you. So we didn't get this in the US. A lot of people are pissed that we got Victory Run instead, which they feel is a poor knockoff. However, Victory Run is nothing like a knockoff of this game, really. I mean, maybe the way the driving looks and feels a little bit moment to moment kind of is, but like the bigger overarching rally game structure is different. It's all about like different parts in your vehicle wearing out and having to replace them. And you drive a 5-speed manual, so that also really changes a lot. It's a very different game and much more of an early attempt at a rally simulation on hardware where you would not expect to see that. So this is the steel drum solo from the song. This is the best song in the game, by the way. Everyone knows that. Not too shabby on this hardware. Definitely not as impressive as on the Genesis, which still isn't even really that impressive. It's still like a big drop down from the arcade machine, you know. Now what can you expect, I guess? That guy screwed me, I think. I don't think I'll be able to make it now. Nope. Well, shit. That's Outrun. So let's go ahead and rate it. I'm rating it a 6. I feel real comfortable calling this a 6. It's fun. I would have enjoyed my weekend if I'd rented it. I'd have been like, yeah, that's cool. I don't think I would have been so enamored with it that I would have wanted to buy it or anything. It's just, you know, it's whatever. Not getting that from my TurboGrafx, but getting Outrun, and which I did rent probably a couple times for Genesis, I think was a fine consolation prize, I'd say. So next up is Dragon's Revenge. This is an interesting one because this is really going to be something we're going to have to look into going forward, like what we really want to do, you know what I mean, or what we really think works best. But this is a Japanese ROM of a game that I normally think of as being an American game. So, an American sequel to a Japanese game, even more specifically. The original game being Double Crash for the PC Engine, classic pinball game by Naxat. They did that as a sequel to Alien Crash, which came to the US as Alien Crush, and then Double Crush, respectively, on the TurboGrafx 16. Double Crush was ported to the Megadrive is Devil Crash MD by Technosoft, the people who make the Thunder Force games, the shooters. And they changed some stuff. It's cool. It's different in its own ways. I like the original better. Like I think most people do, but their version's pretty dope. It's its own thing. And then it got a sequel. It was published by Tengen in the U.S. And then Tengen, like some Atari people or something from Tengen, like developed their own sequel to it called uh, Dragon's Revenge. So in the U.S., Devil Crash MD was released under the name Dragon's Fury by Tengen, and then they made their own Western developed Dragon's Revenge, which is a jankier, shittier game. It's not terrible. It's just, and it's actually probably one of the better pinball games of its generation, really. But it's not as good as the game that it's a sequel to. You know what I mean? Like noticeably not. So it got backported to Japan. It's in English. This is that game. I'm not going to play it for very long. I don't know that it's very distinct or distinct at all from the US version. But here we go. This does have a password feature, which I will not be utilizing. I don't think the controls need anything done to them. I'm probably not going to play this very long at all. In fact, I'll probably give you my preliminary. I basically described the game's pedigree pretty well, I think. I'll give you a quick rundown on my rating on it because I've played it plenty before. And we'll spend a little more time with it maybe when we get to the US ROM, which is probably the proper version of this game for most people to play. But as far as I can tell, they're exactly the same. So this does have like the one screen bonus levels. I don't know if we'll be able to get to any of them. I'm doing terrible. That ball really does not want to settle, does it? So they sort of build on the same idea of the Medusa head in the middle of the screen coming to life. It's a shitty digitized graphic, which definitely has the stink of Atari games or Midway on it. But it is Tengen after all, and that's basically what we're dealing with here. Getting to a bonus level is good fucking luck, right? Shit. That wasn't game over. Yeah. Yeah, you match this. Alright, so like I said, I'm not going to really spend any time on that or try to put any effort into making it work better. I don't know, it's a pretty shit score. We didn't see any bonus levels. Maybe we can try one more time. Let's give it one more go. Hopefully this headset's fairly charged. rather not stay on the wire all night. I feel like from the music you can tell the game's speed is fluctuating, but I don't know if that's true and the music's just shitty. It's really hard to say. Oh man, that felt a little bit like a scam. This just isn't as fun as Double Crash, though. That's the bottom line on it. I mean, but it's not bad. It's not like a bad pinball video game either. It's just kind of whatever. I like it better than Crew Ball, which would also be like a Sega Genesis pinball game, or Time Something, I think, was another option we had back then. See, that ball almost didn't know what side of the wall it was on there for a little while. Like, it's definitely a little janky in the old collision physics department. Better, but not, you know, good. Alright, so what would I rate this game? Also probably a 6 out of 10. It's fine. It's pretty fun. There's better video pinball games. There's worse video pinball games. But that lands on the better side of them, I guess. So it's solid. Just don't go into it expecting anything as good as the original Dragon's Fury game, which is a interesting special port of Devil Crush. And again, like I said, most people prefer the original. Let me check the list to make sure I know what's coming up next, because I am barely paying attention here. Whoops. Randomized list. So yeah, giving that also a 6. Everything's going to end up being rated a 6. Actually, I bet I won't like this one even that much. Enduro Racer for the Sega Master System. And then we have an Atari 2600 game, so all right, you know. And then a Picross game, and I genuinely do not understand Picross. I will try again to see if I can learn how to play Picross, but I do not think I understand it at all. After Enduro Racer, I'm taking a break, and then I'll put up the next 3 upcoming games, and we'll probably do those tonight. Probably. Got some interesting stuff in here. Skitchin' for the Genesis. That's pretty cool. Guy Flame for PC Engine. I don't know what that is. The Master System port of Galaxy Force. Holy shit, wasn't I just talking about that? And also the second Super Scalar game we're playing for Master System after this one right here, which is Enduro Racer. Speedy Gonzales for Super Nintendo. I bet that sucks balls. It's revision 1. It's got a revision. And then it's like a soccer game and like a Japanese quiz game, which I probably won't be able to play. So yeah, we'll start getting into some of that kind of garbage too. But I'm also seeing some really good stuff down the road here, like Star Fox, uh, Aladdin, Xevious. Yeah, good stuff, good games. It'll be interesting to talk about some of those. So Enduro Racer, that's next on the list. Has a Japanese version as well. I'm sure I will not spend much time looking at that when that happens. Mostly just trying to make sure everything's fitting on the screen here well. Come on now, preview. Are you going to update or what? This game's been running for a second. And no, it doesn't fit on the screen well. I still have to fix things, I guess. Holy shit. In fact, this doesn't fit on the screen so well that I want to try Pico Drive and I want to see how it looks. Wait, well, what's wrong here? Something is definitely wrong. Oh, that's Megadrive. I'm sorry. I'm like, where's my Enduro Racer? Man, did RetroArch just crash? I'm gonna need, some visuals here, RetroArch. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this fits the screen better. So here we go. This is what we're gonna use. What button's gas? I don't even know. That's probably not good, right? Game over what? Like, what's even my goal here? There's an ending I just didn't reach because I did bad. I'm going into this one with no nostalgia, so I'm probably going to piss some people off here because I'm not liking what I'm playing. Like, I would much rather play, like, Bump and Jump on Nintendo or something. This is just fucking trash. No offense, man. No offense if this was your childhood favorite, because this game sucks balls. It's just not very fun, though. I don't understand how it's supposed to work, really. And it's like so not compelling to play too, like in a really weird way almost. Like what would be compelling you to play this would be this is the only game you have when you're a kid because it sucks. And you would know that it sucks. You would have this game and you would know on some level that it sucks, right? I can't afford to repair anything and my bike's all fucked up. Cool. So it adds that element to what is already a borderline unplayable crap. It's not like every time I play Master System I'm like glad, damn, I'm glad I had a Nintendo, but this is one of those times where I'm like, yeah, I would rather play, for sure, I would rather play like RC Pro Am or something. Come on. This sucks ass. No. Just no. I would rate this game a 4 out of 10. I just think it sucks. It's not fun. It seems to function as a video game. You can race your way through these levels, but there's no way in hell you'll ever convince me that it's more fun than Excitebike. Or like even in a ballpark because it sucks. So anyway, 4 out of 10. You know, it's not even like I would rate Excitebike all that high. It's probably like a 7 or something. But this is so much worse because it's not fun. You know, it doesn't play well. So there's that too. Not fun. Doesn't play well. Don't like it. 4 out of 10. All right, I'm gonna take a short break, but after that, we'll be back with Sequest for the Atari 2600, Picross for the Picross NP Volume 8. We'll see if I can figure out how to play Picross. I probably will not. That will probably be my first unrated game. And then Skitchin for the Sega Genesis, if I have time. I'm going to go ahead and make a note of what I'm playing. Hang on just a second here. Dang it. I closed something I shouldn't have closed. Let me just pull up the wrong game here. All right, let's get back to it. Next on the list is Sequest for the Atari 2600. Let's check that out. See what we think of it. I'm going to say I'm not quite sure that I remember what this is. I think it's an iMagic game. Maybe it's like the sequel to Atlantis, or maybe Atlantis is a sequel to this game. I might be completely wrong here, though, so it doesn't really matter. We'll see. And then there's a Picross game. Like I said, I don't really understand those. I'm not likely to have some breakthrough on understanding how to play them tonight, so that's just going to be whatever, too. Let's see something else here real quick. No. OBS, come on. They're trapping my mouse, so I'm just going to go ahead and load the game first. There was something I really wanted to do down here, and I don't remember what it is. Oh yeah, lock preview. Save my ratings. And we'll go back to RetroArch. I might remember this. That's an Activision game. Okay, that's cool. You're trying to rescue people from fish. Okay, so I'm seeing a problem already. Gotta bring the sound down a notch. I used to have these mapped. Do I not have these mapped anymore? Well, shit. Yeah, okay. Enemy subs, huh? Oh, I gotta get air too, huh? That's something. Okay, after you get enough people, you just need it to the surface to rescue them. I see. So yeah, this is pretty fun. I mean, Activision get it right more often than not, and I think that this is probably another example of them getting it right. This is pretty fun. I'd play this for a while. Oh, and I think I might. At least deserves a solid spin here. I understand its mechanics now, so we're already on a roll. Not good. Okay, 4760. So yeah, rescue the guys. Once you get enough of them, you have to get to the top. If you're low on oxygen, you have to go to the top, or you can always go up there to get more air. And then you just shoot the dudes, rescue the dudes, and shoot the dudes. Something along the lines of, like Choplifter or something, only not as hard. How's that work? It's just instant death, huh? You just have to wait for it to go away, I guess. That's not cool, because of the oxygen thing. Is that the exact same score I got last time? Still, though, I want to go again. See, I don't think I really remember this one from back in the day, because I think if I had had it, I probably would have played it quite a bit. So you're okay as long as you're not in front of it? Is that the deal? I don't know how that works. That's bullshit. I can't believe that happened. I'm really doing a lot better now that I know how all this shit works. Oh. I immediately cursed myself. Because you lose one last rescued person if you hit a shark. Or anything else, I suppose. Shit. Ooh, look at how hard that pattern was. Shit. Yeah, did way better. That's a lot of fun. 7 out of 10. I'm gonna say it's a 7 out of 10. Best game I played today for sure. And we'll move on to Picross, whatever the hell, volume, whatever. Let's mark this off first. Picross NP Volume 8. Japan NP. Man, I hope that doesn't mean it's porn. Is this like a... You know, it wouldn't matter because I don't even know how to solve the Picross anyway. We're probably safe. Alright, here we go. Our first SNES ROM. This looks pretty official. So yeah, this is some sort of Nintendo product and not porn. That's good. But I don't know how to play Picross. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know what I'm doing or what this is. And this is also very Japanese. I know what you just said, but can you say it again? Oops, I think I backed out of it. Yeah. So just hit me with the Picrosses. Let's see what happens. I don't fucking know. Maybe that's not the one that starts the game. If I can't figure out how to start the game, then that's also going to be a deal breaker, right? I may be unable to rate something of this sort. Oops. I don't know what the fuck that one is. Like, I don't know what the fuck that means. 3. So this should be solid, right? Is that right? This is too Japanese to play. I'm sorry. I don't understand enough of it to, or care enough to be able to rate this. It's just that one's not going to be possible. So let me just go ahead and tab over and mark that one as unrated because that's not for me, man. It's for someone else. And then we got Skitchin'. But yeah, that's the first one I've not been able to rate. I don't have an opinion of something that's that far outside of my normal taste anyway. It's not just a matter of taste though. It's like maybe I would be into Picross if I had some format to learn it in that was in English that I could understand and then like work it out. I think I might have the general idea, but there's enough like problems with the UI and stuff where I can't get it going. Anyway, off to something way more bitchin'. And that would be Skitchin'. Skitchin' for the Sega Genesis. I want to make sure I got the right ROM here. I don't think that there's any other version of this at all. So yeah, probably. Yep. Let's try Genesis Plus and see how it goes. Let's see if I can get this shit to fit on the screen the right way. The Skitchin's basically a rollerblading follow-up to Road Rash. It runs on the Road Rash engine, and it's based on the concept of skitching, which is skating while hitching a ride on a moving vehicle by hanging onto the back of it. Yeah, this is a fairly good thing to have a warning on because this is actually something you should never do. It's fucking stupid. Show me what the controls are. That's grab and release. That's combat. You don't even really have to do anything to accelerate, huh? You just sort of like... Maybe you have to hold B, I don't remember. I think that's actually using the Genesis's highlight and shadow function, which is cool because you don't see very much of that. I like the music on this too, by the way. This is a lot of people's like favorite fucking thing in the world. I like Road Rash a lot. I've never been able to get into this one as much, but you know, respect where it's due. I'm not good at this game for sure. Shit. Like you don't have a chance unless you grab onto a car, but the cars pass so fast, like how do you grab them? I don't get it. Ooh, okay. I don't get this game. And that actually does hurt it a lot. Like, if you can't just pick it up and play it the way that you can Road Rash, anyone can pick up and play Road Rash. You really don't have to understand much about racing games or even what video games are in general. You just fire that game up and you can start playing it. I certainly think that's probably true for all three of the Genesis games and the 32-bit version. They're just games that you can just play. Any normal person can just play them. This shit, though, like, you have to know how to do the skitching thing, and I don't really get how to initiate it. And the game's super hard otherwise. I may not rate this one because I actually don't know how to play it. I don't know. This is a tricky scenario here, too. How do you rate a game that you can't really play or understand? I can't hardly be fair to it. I know a lot of people love it. I don't think I get how to play it, though, and I think that as somebody who's an experienced fan of Road Rash, not being able to get how to play a game is a fair reason to kind of give it a bad rating, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to give it a few tries and see if I can... God, this is a mess. Trying to do these stunts is, like, impossible. All of the cars just whip out of the left lane at fucking million miles an hour, so how am I supposed to grab them? Like, how would you grab a car that's going so fast you can't even fucking see it? They're coming from the rear. I mean, you almost have to be approaching something from behind in this game for that concept to work. But that never happens because you're on skates. You're not as fast as them. I don't get it. I don't get this game. If anyone knows how to play skitching, and could, quickly summarize in a YouTube comment what I'm doing wrong, tell me, because I don't get it. Like, I don't get the game. And I'm probably going to give it a bad review because of that. I don't get it, and it seems stupid. The only thing that playing this game does is makes me want to shut it off and play Road Rash. Like, I just want to play Road Rash instead. Like, why do you like skitching instead of Road Rash? And how do you do it? How do you do the skitching thing? I'm all ears on this one. I really would like to hear it. I'm going to give this game a bad rating, I think. I don't get it. Next race. Let's try it. How do you land a stunt? Ever? How do you ever land a stunt in this game? What's the trick? Do you have to release the button at a certain time? Tap the button at a certain time? I guess I could look at the game's manual. Maybe that would help. I don't want to just give it a bad review, but at the same time, like, I don't see how to play it. And I don't like games that you can't just play without reading a manual either. I'm not fond of that. There we go, I finally caught onto a damn car. That's your only chance of ever moving up a rank, isn't it? This isn't as fun as Road Rash, though, because in Road Rash, I would be, like, neck and neck with people the whole time and punching and kicking them and stuff. This is stupid. Like, I don't like this as much. It's not as fun. There we go. Now there's some combat. Now it's starting to turn around. Okay, maybe I'm finally getting the feel for it a little bit. It's going to impact the review. I'm telling you, this is just because it's not a game I can pick up and enjoy without figuring out how to do it. It makes it not as cool as Road Rash. Obviously, I'm still having trouble doing it. Like, what do I have to do there? The funny thing is, I feel like the 3D engine on this one is as tight or tighter than it's ever been. I mean, it's still probably in the 13, 14 frames per second range, but it looks pretty smooth compared to a lot of other shit in this time for 3D stuff. You can't exactly do super scaler on this hardware, but they're trying their best to imitate something like that. I just don't give a shit what they're saying anymore between rounds either. Doesn't mean anything to me. It never works. It never ever works. Damn it. Third, that's a lot better. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up here, and I'm going to rank this game actually a 7 out of 10. It's not bad once you learn the mechanics behind it, but that's lower than I'd rank any Road Rash game, which I think even Road Rash 3 is probably an 8. Those games are really good. Um, but this is like, it's good, but then they like you got to do this extra shit, and I don't want to. I don't know the best way to describe that. I don't think it's a complete mess. But you have to play. You probably most people are probably going to need like 3 or 4 races to figure out how it plays. More so than Road Rash, which I think is a game you can pretty much start understanding and just whipping the shit out of people with a chain right away. This one's not got enough violence because they're too focused on the sketching element to focus on the combat element. I mean, it happens. You saw me smack a guy once or twice, but not nearly enough. There's no cops to evade, at least not at the levels I played. It just feels stripped down and then tied to something I don't want to do. It feels like what Knuckles and Chaotix is to Sonic the Hedgehog in a way, but not quite as bad as that. Not quite as literally held down with a chain as that game is. But yeah, it feels like a lesser to me. I know a lot of people love this one. You don't get a lot of cool skateboarding and rollerblading games back then. Most of them were really, really douchey. So this would be like a big step up from a lot of that crap. 7 out of 10. Of the 2 7s that I played tonight, I would rather play Sequest for sure on the 2600. That's actually a lot of fun. Did I underrate it at 7? Probably not. It's a real simple game. It's just you shoot the sharks, you save the people, you take them to the surface. It's cool though. It's really good. Um, so next up we'll have Guy Flame for PC Engine. I have no idea what that is. Hope it turns out to be something I can play. Hope it doesn't turn out to be some sort of crap where it's like, um, you know, too Japanese or whatever to even be comprehensible. Then after that, we've got Galaxy Force. I'm just going to cover the next half dozen since we did a half dozen this time. You know what? I'll recap what we did right now, and then I'll tell you what the next half dozen are going to be. And I might start doing this as a pretty regular feature. I'm not giving up on Red Faction Guerrilla. If you're here to watch the Red Faction Guerrilla for any reason, don't worry. I'm going to play through the rest of it. I'm still going to play my scheduled games that I have dedicated streams for because I think they're cool games. But I'm going to do this as kind of a dicking around and discovery thing, just to see what all cartridges are out there. It's a big old pile of cartridges to dig through. So this time we did Outrun for the PC Engine. Never made it home to the US to the TurboGrafx 16, but a good port of an amazing arcade racing game to hardware that obviously can't handle it. 6 out of 10, Dragon's Revenge. We looked at the Japanese ROM of that for whatever reason. That's what came up in the list. But it's the Western developed sequel. Think of it as a Western developed sequel to Devil's Crush that's not nearly as good. But it's still okay. 6 out of 10. Then we played Enduro for the Sega Master System, where they didn't even attempt to do the 3D scaling from the arcade game. They just made it a isometric view motorcycle racing game, kind of like Excite Bike, only not nearly as good. Not even close. I didn't like it at all. I rated it a 4 out of 10. It sucks. Then we did Sequest for the Atari 2600. That's the shark game I was talking about there. You rescue the divers and you take them to the surface and you shoot sharks and enemy submarines. Very fun. 7 out of 10. Picross for Super Nintendo, where you solve a simple puzzle to draw pictures. It's kind of a filling in a grid to make a picture thing. I couldn't read it well enough to play it. I don't really know how to play Picross because I've never played a ROM or version of it that was really designed to be played in English and teach you how to play it, but I think I get the gist of it. It looks pretty cool, but as like a relaxing time waster kind of thing. But ultimately, I cannot rate it. so it's unrated. Um, then we did Skitchin for the Sega Genesis. Weird spin, almost a spin-off of Road Rash, or a precursor to the ESPN games on PlayStation, which I really like, and we might look at that later too. I might do like a separate stream for that game. Randomized retro ROMs will only be cartridge ROMs and card ROMs. So we're not going to get into like optical disc stuff. It'll be small magnetic disc cartridges and card ROMs only. No arcade machines, no hard drive based games, no optical discs, no CD ROMs of any sort, DVD, none of that shit. It's just second through fifth, second through fourth gen gaming for the most part. Um, but yeah, so coming up next time we'll have Galaxy Force, or no, we'll have Guy Flame for PC Engine. Don't know what that is. Galaxy Force, the port of the amazing System Y, triple CPU arcade scaler arcade game to Sega's humble 8-bit hardware. It loses everything in the translation, I can already tell you. Speedy Gonzales for Super Nintendo. I bet that sucks balls. Some sort of Japanese soccer game, Pro Yaku Super League 91, which probably going to have a really hard time forming an opinion on soccer games at first, but after we've done 100 of them, I bet I'll be able to tell you which ones are good. And then Zatsuga Olympic Quiz Watanabe Watoruhin, which I can almost guarantee you I will not be able to play or read at all. So that gives you an idea of what's coming up. And, we'll play the ones we can play and we'll look at all of them, see what we think. That's how randomized retro ROMs is going to work. And thank you for watching. And good night. And oh yeah, and if you like action games from any era,